this House would ban infant male circumcision and call on Alice Taylor as the first speaker of the Open Code.
What we're talking about today, ladies and gentlemen, is the very odd practice where a person's family members stand around them when they're just born and say, "Oh, isn't he lovely? Isn't he such a cutie?" And then watch as his foreskin is ripped off and he looks like he's just suffered a massive painful incision into his body and screams very loudly where people go, "There, there." The question we have in this debate tonight is, why do we allow this ridiculous practice to occur? It has no social utility, it has no health benefits, and the only thing that it possibly said for it is that it is part of an ancient religious belief that should have been left in the time of Abraham and all that shit. But it's really not part of the modern day, and it should be stopped immediately because it has nothing to go for it. And tonight we are presenting just that model. We are banning infant circumcision, in particular infant male circumcision, to have the same level of offence, no thank you, as female genital mutilation, and that it will be an offence to do it to somebody. We think that we wouldn't ban circumcision altogether, and if you are an adult and you can make that reasonable choice, then you have the right to do so. But parents do not have the right to make that choice for an infant, and that is what we stand for tonight. So, yes.
What do you have to say to Elaine Bennett from Seinfeld when she says that a penis without a circumcision just has no personality?
We would say to that is a particularly American American view of the penis, because what you would find in Australia is that the majority of men are uncircumcised, and the majority of women have actually said that they prefer an uncircumcised penis, and so therefore we would say that it doesn't apply to Australian circumstance. No, thank you. So what we have tonight is two arguments. First, that there can be, when you are 3 days old, no consent to a harm occurring to your body, and this is why it should be not allowed for infant children. Second idea is the idea of bodily privacy. We have the right to decide what happens to our bodies, particularly a part that could be private, which is your genitals, and that should be upheld under all circumstances. My Deputy Prime Minister Pete will then go on to discuss how parents do not have the right to make this decision for their children in this circumstance because it serves no health utility, and outline those arguments before, no thank you, discussing the fact that religious or cultural beliefs should not be forced on a child at the age of 3 days old. No thank you. Okay, so first, on my first argument about no consent to harm occurring to body. Okay, we do not allow people to naturally harm other people and lop off other bits of your body just because you want to anyone else in society aside from baby boys. We don't allow this to occur to anyone else in society, and there is no reason why this should change just because you have no capacity to say no. Just because at 3 days old you have no capacity to make that decision for yourself. No thank you. You can barely sit up or burp yourself, at which point we don't think you have the capacity to make a decision to allow somebody else to harm you. We don't think that parents have the right to make that decision, which is an incredibly personal decision to make about what your penis is going to look like when you grow up. We think that, no thank you, that decision should not be made for them. It is fine for male adults to consent to this procedure because they have the capacity to consent. They understand that it will be painful, and they understand why they're doing it. They may have religious or cultural beliefs that push them towards this particular path. No thank you. But we don't think that a 3-day-old baby can make that decision, and so we don't think that it should be allowed under any circumstance because they cannot consent to the procedure that is occurring to them. For this reason, we are proud to propose that it should be made illegal to circumcise a tiny baby. Second argument I want to put forward is this idea of bodily privacy. Our genitals are probably should be one of the most private parts about us. For some people, I don't think that's true. But anyway, parts aside. Anyway, no one should be able to force you to do anything to your own body. No one should force a procedure onto your body because you have the right to it. You have the right to privacy and understanding what your genitals will look like and making that decision. No thank you. It's just as no one can force you to get a tattoo, no one can tattoo you, no one can make you get an abortion. No one should be allowed to cut off your foreskin. No thank you, which is part of your body. At this point, we think that it goes too far to state that there is any reason that it should be seen as any different from female genital mutilation or female circumcision, in which we say is illegal and should not be done because women and girls cannot consent to it, and it is a particular arcane practice. No, thank you, of African communities. We actually don't think it's any different just because it's Jewish and therefore that religion is okay. We think that these practices are similar and the same. We think that cutting up people's genitals, whether or not you're female or male, should make no difference because you have no capacity to consent to that at the young age, and because you have the right to bodily privacy in ensuring your genitals remain intact. And for this reason, we are proud to propose.